Okay, my friends, this is me, Joe Franklin, traveling the universe, various parts of the world via Bloomberg Radio. I've been informed about a book getting a lot of attention. The book is called A Cry for a Hero by Jonathan Womack. And before we talk about the book, I'd like to introduce the man. Jonathan, how are you feeling these days?
I'm great, Joe. Thank you very much. It's great to be here in New York. A very good energy in this town. Always nice to be here.
Gotta be energetic and feisty to get around. When you get to New York, is it any friendlier than Boston? Any similarities, any parallels?
Yeah, it's New York is Boston on a larger scale, and the people are always friendly to me here. It's always a pleasurable experience, and I keep coming back.
You got a nice, friendly, smiling face, nice countenance. When were you, as they say, first bitten, first smitten by the writing bug, Mr. Womack?
Well, my brothers had written a screenplay in the mid-'80s, and I remember reading it thinking, I could tell a better story than this. And I waited until 1999, I decided to sit down. It felt like the right time for me to share a secret that I'd kept to myself for many years, and
comes out in this book, huh?
It does.
But if you were to name some of your favorite authors or storytellers of your youth, the days when you were a kid, would your favorite suspense type novelist, would your brother be in that group?
No, he would not be, but Dean Koontz, and when I was a kid, it was Sherlock Holmes and Tarzan and Zorro and all the action. And of course, I loved comic books as a kid too. And this book is an out-of-body fantasy superhero fighting the terrorist, so there's a lot of that comic lore in there that I have such a love for.
So what you just mentioned, Jonathan, is more or less sprinkling of how and when A Cry for a Hero was born. Your love of that, right?
Yes, it goes way back when I was 8 years old, and I had a terrifying experience in which I had to play dead to survive. I thought that Bigfoot was coming to get me, and I heard my own heartbeat within my head, and I thought it was his footsteps, and he was getting closer and closer, and I said to myself, "Be dead, be dead." And I slowed down my breathing, my heart, and I literally made myself dead. And when the danger passed, the imaginary danger, I stood up, heaved a sigh of relief, and when I turned around and looked down on the ground, I saw someone lying there. And I said, "Who's?" And I realized it was me.
You might therefore call your character in this book Ram, fiction's, how would I say this, very first out-of-body superhero.
Yes, that's exactly right.
In a sense, really?
Yes, just like me. I mean, the book opens up with this guy out in Colorado. He's 29 years old. He's camping with his friends. They're down at the lake fishing. He's taking a nap on a sleeping bag. He wakes up. There's a bear going through his stuff. The bear sees him. It starts coming at him. He has to play dead to survive. And once the danger passes, he stands up and he turns around just like I did, and he sees himself lying on the ground. And after that momentary confusion, a little sense of panic, curiosity took over for me, and I looked at my hands, and I was this phosphorus glowing. I was a ghost, and I thought it was pretty cool.
This sounds gripping, and it is gripping. And Mr. Womack, who's written A Cry for a Hero, is a gentleman with super reviews here. Has been called here an author with an incredibly imaginative mind. So far as how much, if any, of this book comes from the personal experiences of Jonathan Womack, I guess the answer is therefore quite a bit of it, right?
Yes, there's a lot of me in this book, and I tried to relate. I kept quiet about the out-of-body experience for many years. Because it's a wonderful thing. I wanted to, just like a line in the book, the hero wants to run through the streets of his hometown shouting, "Guess what, everybody? You have a soul, and it's awesome, and you survive physical death, and it's great." But I had to keep quiet for a long time, and this book is my way of coming out with the secret, and I consider myself to be a spokesperson for all the other people that I run into at my lectures that have had a similar experience and were not comfortable sharing it with anyone else.
I'm glad you got comfortable. So if any of our listeners out there have had an out-of-body experience, maybe they'll let me know about it, and we'll read some of it on the radio and maybe give out some prizes for the best one. So so far as existing, Jonathan, free existing apart from one's own physical body. That must be a phenomenal happening, right?
Yes, yes, you do. Everyone does have a soul here, and you can step out of your body, so to speak. There's a silver cord that connects you, that's connected by your belly button, and you know instinctively that if that cord is broken or snapped, you won't be able to get back inside. But
somehow you do get back, right?
yeah, it's you just I would be all over. I've been all over the world many times, and all I had to do was to conjure the image of myself lying home in bed, express the desire to return, and whoosh, like that, I would zip back and bang, I'm back in my body, open my eyes. End of story.
So you would call your new book here, more or less, how would I say it? It's kind of a melding of sci-fi and the real fear of terrorism in today's modern society, right?
Yeah, I wrote this book by feel. I definitely felt the 9/11 coming, and I was nearing the end of the book. The bad guy in it is a Osama-type character before Osama was anybody. I'd been researching him, and the morning of 9/11, I was driving into Boston to work at the Prudential Center, one of the tall glass-lined buildings in town there, and my girlfriend at the time, she calls me up and she says, "Happy birthday, honey." I said, "Oh, thank you. My birthday's on 9/11, and she said, "Something terrible has happened." And at that moment, I knew that this book was going to be more than just an entertaining action-adventure novel, that I was very tied to that event and just felt a huge tremor of sort of a prophecy or destiny, or I don't know what you call it.
I feel your eyes moistening right now, right? This is something very touching and poignant to you, right?
It's very personal and very moving. And
I read someplace that your birthday was 9/11. Is that true?
It is 9/11.
That's intriguing. That's ironic, if nothing else, right?
It's more than ironic. I just, like I said, I felt this coming because I don't know. Like I was talking with Gary, is it out there?
Steve Garron, who's our master engineer, right?
Mr. Garron, that America, because I consider myself a patriot, and this book was written in the spirit of Lexington and Concord.
Right, I like that.
I take my freedoms very seriously and give thanks every day that I live in a great country, the greatest country in the world, where you have the freedom to say what you want.
Or write what you want, huh?
And write what you want.
I tell you, I'll second that emotion. My guest is Jonathan Womack, Womack, A Cry for a Hero, a very hot novel. And, you wonder, how might you account, Jonathan, for the increasing popularity of superheroes in general at this particular time in our history?
Well, 9/11 changed the world, and just like back in 1939 there during the war, Superman was a brand new character.
Right.
And, they had cartoons back then, the Fleischer Studios, about Superman against the Japanese and Superman against Hitler. And in these times of war, the public's appetite for larger-than-life fantasy superheroes is insatiable. So today you have the Spider-Man movies and X-Men and Batman.
And especially in the days of tsunami and Katrina and so forth, maybe we more than ever need a superhero to counteract all that disaster, right? All that disaster.
Yeah, there are times when I wish Ram was a real...
Well, we could use him now, huh?
Yes, we could.
Could this be a movie? Could this be either A, a movie, or B, a series?
Movie is my ultimate goal. It would make a spectacular movie, a Spielbergian special effects extravaganza.
And if I'm not around, let's say that I'm busy doing another movie, who might be available for the part if I'm not available?
There's a number of people. As time goes by, though, because I wrote it a few, before 9/11, and the actor, I was thinking of Ben Affleck back then.
He'd be good, yeah.
And Bruce Willis is his dad and things of this nature. But who knows, by the time it gets made into a movie, the star could be somebody that's 13 right now, and he'll be old enough.
26, right? No, it'll happen sooner. But this is something that will keep you wondering at the end, my friends, could this really happen? I think it probably could, right? It's who knows in today's day and age, right?
Yes, because the hero and a couple of his buddies, they are out in the Rocky Mountains, and they inadvertently stumble across this terrorist plot to destroy Boston. They're going to take out the entire city and kill a few million people, and they find themselves in the